Hello everyone, I hope we're all doing well. Welcome back to a very exciting episode of CSGO News, and a CSGO News episode that for the first time in a long time, I am very excited to release. So I think it's been a good day for CSGO News. Now first off, our very first story today will be all about Navi Zeus, our former Navi Zeus. So if you guys want to look down below for time markers down below, those are always there just in case you have a topic you're very interested in. But first off, I do want to talk about Zeus. These past few days has been, releasing a lot of cryptic tweets and tweets that no one really knew what they meant. I'll show you guys examples on screen as to what those tweets were. A lot of people trying to depict what they exactly meant. Now, it also led to a tweet came out late last night that said new beginnings for Zeus, and that actually came with an announcement. He said in that actual new beginnings story of that twitlonger, he mentioned to all of us he would be having a big announcement come sometime soon. That big announcement came this morning, confirmed by HLTV, as Zeus will be rounding out the actual Gambit Gaming roster, and now he will be their official 5th member. As many of you probably saw late last night or early this morning, for some of you, they actually signed Hobbit. These are two signings that have been hinted at a long time ago, but yes, Gambit Gaming's new 5-man roster will be followed out by Zeus and Hobbit. I love this Hobbit character because he looks like an actual Hobbit character. I mean that in the nicest way possible. The guy seems like a great guy, and that roster will now consist of Zeus, Hobbit, Mo, Adren, and Doja for that 5-man Gambit Gaming roster. I'll talk about them later on, but also a big announcement from Zeus in this twitlonger as well came out that he actually has been working on a project for 5 years in the making, and he has another big announcement coming soon besides his Gambit Gaming announcement. So Zeus will be coming back to the competitive scene for Gambit Gaming. I am so excited for this. He seems like such a great guy, and especially if you guys watch his montage video he released, it is such a great thing to see, especially in his early years of CSGO. He had so much tenacity, so much vibe for the game, and so much just energy. I love to see that. And then you see over the progression of the years where slowly but surely he did not have that same drive. You can see it in the video itself, and I cannot wait for him to return. This is going to be a Gambit Gaming roster where no one can expect them to be a top tier team right out of the gun, but we can definitely expect some good things from this team in the future, and hopefully, going to be a very unexpected roster, so we're going to be very curious to see how they do in the future. And next up on CSGO News, and probably the last time I'll be talking about this topic with McSkillet, guys, I do want to talk about his recently deleted video, which I touched on yesterday. A lot of you guys actually loved that video, and I will have a few big announcements for all of you coming sometime soon involving Drakeman and other gambling websites that you guys should really enjoy, as well as CSGO Crash had a big story that will happen tomorrow in CSGO News, so expect some great gambling stories coming sometime soon. But again, the last time I'll probably talk about this is I did actually have confirmed by sources that McSkillet received a number of threats from other YouTubers, and that's why he deleted his video after it reached around 250,000 views. He then decided to delete the video because of a number of threats from YouTubers that we can probably assume will be people like Sparkles and Nick Bunny. Now, I really don't want to think that Anomaly would have any reason to threaten anybody, and Anomaly, one of those few YouTubers who actually was sponsored by Drake Moon, and the video itself got 48,000 likes and maybe 2,000 dislikes. I mean, the guy has a great loyal following. I don't want to think that Anomaly would be involved in this, but we have to assume or guess as of right now that he was one of the YouTubers that sent McSkillet a lot of threats, and we could assume as well that YouTubers outside of those three, Nick Bunny and Sparkles and Anomaly, also sent him several threats. Now, of course, there is reasoning for this because McSkillet himself has been sponsored by gambling websites such as CSGO, I think it was Wild in the past, so it's kind of hard for him to come out with a video like that. So again, the reason why he took down that video, guys, was not because he's going to be taking a sponsorship deal as of right now, but because he received several threats from other YouTubers. Now, I also reached out to McSkillet himself personally and asked, hey McSkillet, did you receive a $75,000 offer? He said yes. Who was it from? He told me he could not reveal the sources or the website that actually offered him that $75,000 offer. So as of right now, we cannot assume that it was Drake Moon. It could have been other gambling websites as well. But yes, McSkillet did receive a giant offer, and he did decline that. So as of right now, he has no gambling sponsor, but I'm really worried in the future, if McSkillet does take a future sponsorship with a gambling website, he's going to receive a lot of backlash for it. But that's the story on McSkillet, guys. The last time I'll talk about it for right now. Oh, and by the way, if I ever look right here at the screen, it's because I am now using the front-facing camera. It's at a different angle, so if you recognize some flashes and flares, it's because my screen is so cracked. But I love the front-facing camera because the audio is way better. So if I'm ever looking right here, it's because my camera, I'm not used to looking here yet. So if I'm looking here, I'm not looking at a script or a computer screen. It's just that's how I usually look at the screen. So I should be looking right there, but I'm trying to learn. So yeah, sorry. Next story. And these next couple of stories, guys, will strictly be about the groups that have been decided for the both iBuyPower Masters and IEM Oakland tournaments, which will not be happening for another month or so. Why this is important for all of you who are big fans out there for a couple of European and North American teams is the top 4 finishers for the iBuyPower Masters tournament, which happens a month from today of you watching this, will actually automatically qualify for the $300,000 tournament at IEM Oakland. So that's why these groups are very important. Now again, both of these tournaments, if you guys really don't care that much, you might want to skip around this, do not occur for another month or so. So I'm going to tell you guys the group breakdown as of right now, and then 3 weeks time I'll probably give you guys predictions for these tournaments as well. I want to have ECS as well as ESL Pro League play out before I actually make predictions on these teams. So first off, for IVA Power Masters teams, we have 2 groups of 4 here. Group A is actually very well rounded. It actually has a lot of good teams here. We have the North American favorite of Cloud9. We also have the Chinese favorite of Tai Lu, along with the struggling God Sent roster, as many of you are aware of, and Echo Fox to top off Group A. Now in Group B, guys, we have another top American team, that is Team Immortals. We also have the European team FaZe Clan alongside Renegades and TSM. I do believe here in Group A and Group B, very well and evenly spread out. I would give Group A a more competitive scene here, but again, probably not going to be very surprised to see Cloud9 and Tai Lu out of that group. But again, these groups are actually not near as important as the IEM Oakland groups, as IEM Oakland is probably, it's a three times as large of a prize pool, and again, a much larger tournament with a very, very highly competitive field. So now I'm going to talk about, more importantly, guys, the groups for IEM Oakland. Now again, for this IVA Power Masters groups, these 2 groups I just mentioned, the top 4 finishers will move on to IEM Oakland and join these other teams. So trying to make this as quick as possible for IEM Oakland, obviously the field is going to be very stacked, guys. A lot of top 15 and top 20 teams in the world here for IEM Oakland so far, minus the 4 teams that are yet to qualify for this tournament. For Group A, going to be a great group for Na'Vi, as they have Na'Vi, Liquid, G2, and Astralis going again as quickly as possible. I think Na'Vi coming off that win for ESL New York. ESL New York going to be my main reference point here because it's our past or our most recent big tournament for a lot of top tier teams. I guess there were only 8 teams there, but again, a very big performance coming from Na'Vi. As Na'Vi did win ESL New York, they have a great chance at hopefully pulling out a good win here in the tournament. Now, they're also going to be joined by Liquid, who again at ESL New York placed 3rd, 4th, but that is their only top finish in a long time, unless you want to go all the way back to MLG Columbus, where they placed 2nd SK Gaming there. Liquid, a team that was struggling in ESL Pro League and still is, and their only top finish ever since then has been at ESL New York, where they did place 3rd, 4th to SK Gaming. Now again, we also have G2 at ESL New York, who went 0-3, losing to teams like Optic Gaming, who again is still a top tier North American team, but again, compared to European teams, G2 is definitely struggling, as they were previously a top French team, but definitely not been playing at their top tier they used to. And then again, Astralis. Astralis is a team who has also been struggling. Now, a lot of teams, obviously right now, I can say are struggling, as you know, only so many teams can win tournaments, but Astralis continuing that group stage curse, as well as they're struggling to the point where they can actually bench one of their top players, or previously top star players, that is Kerrigan. As many of you guys know, he's been currently benched and replaced by a 16-year-old. So obviously Astralis is in a funk if they're going to replace one of their top players with a 16-year-old. Now, we can assume as of right now that Naughton will not stay on the team all the way until this tournament, so Kerrigan will be back for Astralis, but I think a very easy pull here for Na'Vi. We also have, guys, Group B, a certainly loaded group. I think Group B is one of the, if you guys were going to classify in this 2-group tournament, a group of death, Group B would certainly have to be it. First of all, we have SK, a team who is always consistent, a team who also plays 3rd or 4th at ESL New York, and definitely a deadly team to always play. We also have Virtus Pro, who plays 2nd to Na'Vi at ESL New York, also in this group, and a team who has been the top team in the world, no doubt in my mind, the #1 team in this last month or so of October, and especially September, the top team in the world, Virtus Pro, who's been playing very well. We also have NIP, a lineup who has McSkillet standing in. We can assume, though, NIP going to be a mystery lineup for this tournament, as they can possibly have Pith back in their lineup for their 5th member, replace McSkillet, who's been standing in for the team. So going to be a mystery NIP team here as well. And on top of that, the team I'm very excited about, who also, you know, stacks this Group B, is Mousesports. Now, a lot of people don't really understand right now and don't notice that ESL Pro League European standings, Mousesports is #1, followed closely by NIP, but still they're #1 in the standings. They have played out of their minds as of late. They've also picked up Pentasports player as their permanent 5th, that is Lowell, and they've been playing very well ever since his pickup. Chris J also going off. In the past 4 days alone in ESL Pro League, not including today, they have swept teams like Flipside. They've also swept Fnatic in one of those sweeps as well, and also a very good looking Hellraisers team, in all convincing fashion. So they are 6-0 in their last 6 games in ESL Pro League, a team I am very worried to see about and very also excited to see in the future, this Mousesports team. So those are the IEM Oakland groups, guys, and I'm very excited to see this tournament. I will give you guys predictions hopefully sometime soon in the future, in the next 3 weeks. And I know this video has already been super long, so I'm going to continue that with one last story for all of you. I also have several stories planned for tomorrow, guys, including the big VAC ban wave, especially a 1.6 or a Counter-Strike source player also receiving a VAC ban. A lot of great stories coming tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. One last lengthy story here is I never got to touch on CSGO sprays, the update that came out a few days ago, or quite a few days ago now, as I was out of town. So I do want to touch on this really quick. Probably the most disliked update ever since the Revolver came out and was super OP. Do you guys realize no competitive players are actually using the Revolver anymore? Yes, this update might actually outdo that for the most disliked update of all time. As many of you probably know by now, you were given a free stack of 50 sprays. after launch up until October 10th if you just logged onto the game. I got mine. I have yet to use it. I probably will never use those sprays, and I will never buy them as well. I think it's probably one of the biggest money grab hoaxes we've ever seen from Valve. You know, it kind of sucks to see. I compare this to myself as a YouTuber as well as many of your favorite YouTubers out there. Think about this. It's like you watch CSGO News and you think, wow, let's say one of you actually likes CSGO News. You know, you really like CSGO News. This guy uploads daily. He's a great YouTuber, and all of a sudden I sell out to a gambling website. So you like me, and all of a sudden you really don't like me because I sold out. That's kind of like Valve. But then you realize CSGO News, he still tries and uploads every single day, so I kind of still like him, but he sells out every now and again, as in a bad update comparison to Valve here. It seems like Valve has been doing a great job as of recently with these VAC ban waves, especially with dealing with all these cheaters, and as well as some great in-game updates I'll talk about in tomorrow's episode as well, not only to Inferno, but to every single operation map they've updated these last few days. And, you know, some of the gun sounds are even, you know, particularly kind of good. So they have all these great updates, and they have these lapses every once in a while where they just money grab, and they have great updates, money grab. It's like you have to love them, but you kind of have to hate them at the same time. That's my comparison. So I'm actually very excited in the future. I think that the spray update is a terrible one. I will not be participating in it. I recommend you guys don't buy sprays. They're a really big waste of money. They only last 60 seconds per one. It's kind of a stupid update in my personal opinion. Now I am excited though in the future. I think this is a pathway to possible glove skins coming out, and I think that's actually a cool update. I will be buying glove skins. I think that's a really cool thing to do. If you guys do not know, several Star Ladder tournaments have been doing glove updates where teams like Heroic or Virtus Pro or Liquid all have their own personal gloves in game, and they're very cool to see. I think that's actually a really cool update that will come sometime soon to CSGO, and of course we will have to pay for it, but I think it's a much better update than having temporary sprays that don't ever last more than 60 seconds. So hope you guys all enjoyed this episode of CSGO News. I actually had a really good time making this episode. I thought I took very, very few times to actually record all the clips. I was very, you know, for once well-spoken, maybe majority of the video. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it. I really did enjoy this episode. I cannot wait to make tomorrow's episode. I have a lot of great stories for all of you guys, like I said before. As always, guys, my name is Jake. Remember, I like you. Live, love, laugh a lot. Hope you all enjoy this episode. It was so fun to make. I will see you all back here tomorrow. Remember, I like you. Goodbye.